So I bought these raised garden beds from Home Depot, right there and right there. Filled one all the way up with soil. I stood back and realized that it doesn't get any sun over there. The sun starts right here because those oak trees. So this is where the garden was gonna go, but there's absolutely no sun over there. So what I did, I took my pole saw and I started to cut a lot of the branches out. And after doing that, there's still no sun over there. So I just made this project way bigger because I got to get rid of all the stuff that I clipped, and I got to do this garden. I barely even started this project because I picked the worst spot in my yard to try to start a garden, but really that was before I even thought about starting this channel right here. I do a ton of projects around the house, and a lot of times they end up a little bit messed up, but somehow I figure it out and I get them right at the end. Well, that's why I named this channel This Might Work, because sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But one thing's for sure, we'll go on an awesome journey, and hopefully I could inspire you guys to try new things. So we're off to a bad start. There's only one way to go, and that's up from here. So before I knew I was making this channel, I already started the project a little bit. I rented a tiller, and I found the sunniest spot in my yard, which is this back corner. I wasn't too far off. I just gotta move it from there to there. I rented a tiller, and then I threw tarp down to completely kill the grass. I got it all looking good. Now it's time to build an epic garden. I was just gonna start with those two little beds, but in true Al fashion, by the way, that's me guys, Al, I start something simple and I always complicate it and make it way more technical than what I originally planned. So that's the plan for today's video. I'm gonna run inside and sketch up some garden ideas and some materials I might need to get this thing started. These turkeys aren't supposed to be over here. Where you at, turkey? Get over here, you turkey. Perfect. Let's get to sketching this project out. First things first. Let's pull this tarp off the ground where we're gonna put the garden bed. I tilled it up, but there was still some spots with a little bit of grass. So I put some tarp over it for a couple days to kill all the grass and weeds without chemicals, since I want my garden to be 100% organic. The tarp blocks the sunlight and traps all the heat in, cutting off its energy source and stopping growth. After that, I lay down a premium weed barrier fabric I got from Home Depot. It will go under and all around the garden bed. I did a pretty big area so I could add gravel and rock for the walkways, and if I want to add any more garden beds in the future, I can. The tarp I used to kill the grass was a different material, and the water would pool up on top of it. Not making it too far. It's kind of turning out to be a little bit of a crappy day, but I'll finish laying this tarp down right here, then probably wait out the storm. With this weed barrier fabric, the water can drain through and it will still block the weeds. This weed barrier was about 60 bucks. Now for the garden bed. I'm going to start this by building a square frame to make it easy to level since the ground is not perfect. So starting off, I need two 2x10s that are 10 foot long and two 2x10s that are 8 foot long. I have to cut them down to size since they aren't perfectly 8 and 10 foot. I pre-drill the holes so I don't split any wood. Guys, I'm not a professional, but I've done enough projects to know that using the right tools for the job make easy work out of any project I got going on. Now I need a few 2x2 inch stakes I can beat into the ground so I can make the bed somewhat level. If one side is a little off, I could screw it into the stake to hold its level. I could stop and leave it just this tall, but I don't want to have to be bending down so much. So let's add a second 2x10 on top of the last one to make it a really raised garden bed. I should really be using cedar wood, but it's too expensive, so I'm gonna go with an untreated pine. Honestly, it's not the best choice for a raised garden bed. All right, so day one complete. I thought it was gonna be a 1-day project, but it looks like it's gonna be 2 days. Got the full box framed out, all leveled, the ground all tarped up. Now I just gotta do, I think I'm gonna do 2.5 feet width and then turn it into a U shape. Right now it's just a big box. I should get about 3 to 5-ish years out of it, depending on a few things like direct soil contact, moisture exposure, and the thickness of the wood. So I think I'll probably add a liner before I put in the soil, just to get a little bit longer added life.
Hey guys, drink of water.
Thanks, baby. Cool hat.
Thank you. That was sunny out.
For the shape, I'm going with a U shape, and the beds are gonna be 2.5 feet wide. I think that will give me plenty space to plant all the veggies and plants we want. I mainly want cucumbers. That's my favorite thing to grow. What's your guys' favorite thing to grow? The last step is to cut out this walkway so we can get inside the middle of this bed. Alright guys, she's done. It went from a patch of grass to a beautiful U-shaped raised bed. I didn't really have a plan, just a lot of guesswork. And honestly, I'm proud of it. It's solid. The measurements are kind of squarish, and the best part is it's not in the shade anymore. We have full sun over here. What's the biggest thing I learned? That's take your time. My first attempt, I rushed it, and it showed. Picking out the right spot and the layout mattered a little bit more than I originally thought, but hey, we got her in the right spot now. The next step is filling this beast with soil, compost, and whatever else makes stuff grow. Then we gotta figure out what plants we're gonna grow without destroying the budget. And honestly guys, all this wood didn't cost me too much. I think it was like $200 worth of wood around there somewhere. So I think the soil is gonna be a little bit more expensive, and then we get them plants growing. So that's what we'll go ahead and do in next week's video, guys. So if you guys like real do-it-yourself projects, no fluff, hit that subscribe button, guys, because we're just getting started. And honestly, this might work.